know where we are? I've been walking forever, lost in the marsh. The two travelers were talking quietly. Yeah, I got so lost in the marsh, you know? Why go anywhere else if it's safe here? Yeah, never having to worry again. The birds scare me though. The guard joked. Another scrawny ember from the forest. And with the bag looking all nicely, both guards started looking at Ember with a deathly... The guard leered. The Forest King would Yes, come a little closer. Let us see what's in that bag. We guard the door to the Forest King. Oh yes, we decide who gets to see the king. The Forest King will want to see you. Yes, come this way. A feeling of foreboding overcame Ember. Ember was terrified but tried not to show it. The giant bird spoke softly. Another little Ember, do not fear. The bird is a friend. Ember wanted to feel safe. Oh, little Ember, birds won't hurt you. Birds will take another under our wing. Stay safe in the nest, you'll never turn forlorn. Ember was still afraid. Is it the night that scares you, little one? See? Night is... Birds will make the world less frightening. It wasn't only the night that frightened Ember. The bird was disappointed. Stay? No need to help. Hope is false. Hope hurts little ones in the end. The Forest King spoke so gentle. Perhaps they could rest here. It was hard to know what else to say. Clever little Ember. You will stay. You will not turn forlorn. Search for hope no more. Now take this feather. Feather means Ember is one of us now. Birds keep little ones. Birds should never leave the nest. The guard seemed pleased. Clever scrap, I can hold that bag for you. Leave him alone, they're one of us now. Yeah, one of us. And we all shares bags and things. The stranger wanted Ember's attention. Being careful not to speak too loudly. You should get away from here while you still can. You can't trust the birds. I've heard there's another campfire in the marsh. Well, that's where I'm going if I can find a way down. The travelers had disappeared. Their campfire remained. The ashes where bird tracks lay in the cinders. The guard squawked. Stand back, don't come any closer. Nothing down there, but go see the Forest King. He'll set you straight. Got your first feather, I see. Best stand watch here. Promise you won't let anyone pass. The stranger leaned in. But friend, those birds are really just embers, dressed up. Ember didn't like deceiving the birds. But what choice did they have? They couldn't rest in that place forever. They had to keep going. This forlorn was not the same as the others. The forlorn whispered softly, I know what I need, but I am not ready. I may never be ready. The future is yours, stranger, but mine is mine. Ember left the forlorn with their thought. The time wasn't right, perhaps would never be. Hidden away was a scrap of journal. There were memories here, bound in rock. I hear their voices echo in the ancient stone. I find footprints by the cinders. A makeshift. Ember hurried away from the birds. The mist hung close to Ember, hiding them. The Forest King seemed frightened, the birds cruel. Ember would rather risk turning forlorn than become like them. Ahead there would be others to help, and maybe a way to move on. Ember found a scrap of journal. I heard them coming. The snap of a twig, a flutter of birds. A figure dashing through the undergrowth. Another like me? The traveler seemed distressed. I'm sure it's fine, but it's been a while. It's my fault. The traveler seemed distressed. But it's been a while. It's my fault. The traveler whispered quietly, no matter where, always here. It looked like a map, but pieces were missing. piece formed a new root. Hidden inside was the Wanderer's journal. Another face at last. A catcher of fish resting by a pond. We work together, silk and tar and aching fingers. My boat floats. It was the same place as before. But how? An eerie scene, like a moment frozen in time. Inside was a secret diary entry. Pink, orange, red, brown, leaves gently dancing to the ground. Crunch, crackle, lovely sound, fall into a giant mound. Gradually, more of the map was revealed. A section of bridge had somehow been ripped from its foundations. It was like the map had been broken on purpose. The mist revealed a secret place. Was it hidden on purpose? The stranger spoke. You know, I said some things I shouldn't have, and now I'm lost, and it's too late. The skeleton looked peaceful. Held tightly in its hand was a red feather. The skeleton held tightly in its hand was a red feather. The statue spoke. The instrument you now hold, another before you, took great effort to hide it deep within this riddle. The lanthorn began to glow. A lost message was inside. The mist is thick. One way blurs into another. Where do I end? Where does the world begin? I cannot see far enough to tell. Ember found a secret note from the Wanderer. Something beckons. This place is not home. I trace the map in my head, recite the older myths. I have to move on. There was one last place to reach on the map. Ember found a lost message. The smell of hot broth and hearty stew wafts across the swamp. By the cook's spot I meet another. They are on their own path, but we promise to meet again. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. Ember felt a great relief to be out of the mist. The way through, muffled by the fog, Ember was sure could that have been a tremendous snow? Ember didn't mind getting muddy. The slide was such fun. A sleeping pig. Trotters, they looked happy. The plant looked like it could take a hand off, and it was in Ember's way. The fruit was giving off a sickly sweet smell. The plant looked like it could and it was in Ember's way. The plant looked like it could take a hand, and it was in Ember's way. Ember chuckled. The dangerous plant was no match for a hungry piggy. A hideous odor filled the air. and suddenly, the reason was obvious. Ember came upon another campfire lost in the wilderness. It looked long cold. The ghost said, "Speak, and I will listen." This is the hall. Here hope was conceived. You must not lose hope, or you too. Ember thought of those they loved, those they'd left behind. There are others. Find them, and I will guide them. Down steps to your east, travel the path south, watching a pig grow unhappy, a forlorn, lost hope. The skull was disgusting. Perhaps the pig would like it. The pig inhaled a giant snort of air. Wait, what's that? Ember shuffled nervously. Other embers fed me treats, but then stopped. You feed me now. As the pig chewed, a light grew in its belly. Crunchy, embery. Not much meat, but what I want is flavor with more spark. The pig would eat anything. Ember just needed to find more. And with each thing it ate, the light grew even brighter. Fruity, fresh, but tastes a lot like But what I want is a flavor with more spark. Perhaps if Ember could satisfy the pig, they might be more helpful. This was the last thing Ember could find to offer. Surprising, a little sparky. But what I want, the pig's stomach made an almighty sound. Ember chuckled with relief at the large creature they had been so afraid of. Inside was a scrap of journal. In the orchard, I meet the stranger from the cook's fire, a stranger no longer. Together we fill their satchel, food and memories for the road ahead. The Wanderer's Diary. An ancient throne sits empty. No one remains to guide or protect, but we do not mind. My companion shelters with me now. We cannot help those left behind. The pig had vanished, but something moved beneath the surface. In a muddy pond, Ember thought the pig looked a lot less imposing. The pig shouted joyously, "Join me, morsel!" The pig seemed happy, but Ember wasn't getting too close. Why do I consume whatever people put in front of me? I need some true nourishment, but there's none left here. But so much cooler in this muddy pond, I can finally think. Thank you, morsel. Ember thought about the pig. Fed to bird cheerily, the stranger said. Don't say much, little friend. Remind me of one of those stood there, mouth open. I like you. Who had the pig been before? Ember wondered. Ember watched as the helpful piggy cleared the path. Ember found the Wanderer's Diary. We stop by the warmth of another campfire. The guardian spirit provokes us, asks what we hope to resolve. I do not understand the question. My companion is silent. The stranger couldn't take on more. The stranger couldn't take on more. The time to grow had passed. They settled into the soft moss and waited. The stranger stretched their limbs. Perhaps it is not too late after all. The pot had turned cold. The fire had died. Nothing the cook made felt good enough. Endlessly stirring the same tasteless pot. Couldn't focus, sleepwalking through the days. In the eye of the storm, a fragile flicker. They wanted to serve something perfect. The praise of others was Ember couldn't hold on. The cook felt numb and hurt all at once. The cook spoke, so I must have lost myself for a moment. It's supposed to be my new soup, but it's not ready. A wonderful smell. Woof. You look starving. Have a little taste. It was the most beautiful I know. It's got no... Ember wished the cook would believe them. Oh, I'd forgotten how good... But it's not ready. There's no need to pretend. The cook stirred their soup, looking at Ember. Soon, maybe. Oh, I used to love this. But it feels like I'm making this... Nothing has flavor. I'm stuck. If you know what you want, but I really need some better... Something from the orchard could have worked. If it was still standing. Oh. The cook struggled to hold back their emotion. Pigs have gotten in me orchard. Planted every sapling I did. All me hard work. Take the key and have a look yourself. I can't bear to. See if anything is left. But I promise you, there won't be. Back so soon? It takes a long time to grow. Some of the leaves are poisonous, so that's something. Be well, little one. cheerily, the stranger said. Remind me of one of those who stood there, mouth open. I like you. As the forlorn awoke, the campfire flickered into life. The ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." Down steps to your east, travel the path south, watching a pig grow unhappy, a forlorn lost hope. Through the mist, Ember could feel they were being watched. Ember uncovered a journal entry. Snotty piggy, simple piggy, so easily teased with fruit. They are no help until they are fed. A few grow fat, wobbling on their trotters. The stranger said, "Magical sound, lanthorn. Let me tell you, I plays a good lanthorn." The orchard gate was locked and needed a key. Ember placed the key in the lock and slowly began to turn it. stranger puzzled over their journey. Some steps felt effortless. Some steps seemed impossible. Again and again they returned to the past. They twisted by unseen. Gratefully, the stranger said, "Friend, thank you. We all help each other along." Gratefully, the stranger said, "Friend, thank you. We all help each other along the path." Hidden away was a scrap of journal. Hands encircled around the evening fire, merry lanthorn tunes, singing out the promises of old. Will home be as we remember? The cook was right. The pig was stuffed to bursting, having filled up on fruit in the orchard. The pig was stuffed to bursting, having filled up on fruit in the orchard. pig devoured the fruit with careless abandon. The frog seemed nervous, but also relieved to see Ember. They told Ember that the birds had let up and that the pigs had eaten all whilst the birds watched and laughed. Except one precious thing the frog offered the lotus seeds to Ember. They pleaded for Ember to take the lotus seeds as the frog knew how important good ingredients were in hard times. The stranger closed their eyes and let the frog overwhelm them. Soft, gentle frog, it held them like a vice. The mist could not be pushed, would not be fanned away. The stranger spoke. The fog didn't choose me, it just was. I hope it never closes on you, friend. Ember found a scrap of journal. The lanthorn wards off ghosts and fear. It shapes the world as we wish it. I urge my companion to rest, but still they stare into the fire. The stranger couldn't face themselves. I've never meant any harm. The stranger couldn't face themselves. To be outshone. I've never meant any harm. The stranger couldn't face themselves. It just hurt to be outshone. Easier just to turn aside. The stranger searched Ember's face. Is there hope for me, do you think? Will I make it? Hidden inside was the Wanderer's journal. Our feet are weary, the hours long. There will be much to do when we arrive. I tell my companion of those waiting at home. They do not seem to know what to say. Inside was a secret diary entry. The satchel is almost bare, our supplies exhausted. The taste of a good meal is not easily forgotten, but it slipped my mind to thank the cook. The stranger had come so very far. They felt the air beneath them, the distance ever widening. It was such a long way down. A resolve stirred within the stranger. Just a few more steps. It can't be much further. A lost message was inside. Our music crafts our path, bridging over any we pass. My companion's hand clutches mine. We dart like fireflies through the swamp. stranger knew they had to move on. The path behind was forever closed. They knew they had no choice, and yet they hesitated. They tried so hard to see it all. To leave now seemed unbearable. The stranger stared past Ember. I'm almost ready. Let me sit a little longer. I will catch up. I promise. Back so soon? I can't believe I've never cooked with lotus seed. Ember felt happy seeing the cook sudden. What a lovely surprise! What a lovely... Please try some. It's not much, but there's plenty. Help yourself. Be well, little one, and do remember me if you are ever hungry. The pig was joyous. What is this morsel? My insides feel as refreshed as my outsides. I did not dream such food was possible. We will plant a garden of treats. We will compliments to the chef. The ghost said, "Speak, and I will listen." Little one, seek a way west to the nook. Find the forlorn in a chamber locked by music.